How's it going, guys? It's your undead White Walker coming to you from the north, and today I'm going to be talking about arrows and what's best in what situation. First off, I'm going to start off with just a basic wood arrow. As I just did a test on these locks just to see how many arrows it would take to kill each lock using different types of arrows. The only arrow I didn't really interpret here, or a couple arrows, were the flint arrows and the silver arrows, because I figured if I got 5 or 6 arrows in here to get the test, and it would be basically the same. So the arrow is going to stack the damage on your arrow. It's going to stack with the damage on your bow. Now I have the Draugr bow maxed out, so I'm going to be doing a lot more damage. Plus my bow is pretty high because I use it quite often. As you can see, it took 14 arrows to down this lock with just regular arrows. We're going to move on to needle arrows, which is 62 piercing. And the knockback helps when you're fighting other mobs, not locks. Locks do not get knockback. But other mobs get knocked probably by the second or third shot. So it helps when you're fighting furlings or stuff of that nature, because they can get stunned and you can give yourself a little extra time to get that stamina up. But doing the research, the needle, it took only 10 arrows to down this locks. All the procs from certain things like poison, same thing, has lower knockback but poison effect. It doesn't matter because your Draugr bow is going to override that. If you have a fine bow, then sure, I would suggest using poison or fire and ice to help hunt mobs, because the extra ticking does help over time. But what I've found out is pretty much most of the arrows, for the locks anyway, all took about 10 arrows to kill the locks. The proc is just always going to be from 3.0 to like 3.9. Hopefully sometime in the future the devs will decide they want to stack it and make it worth making these arrows, because it costs, obsidian and feathers and things of that nature to make these, when a simple wood bow or arrows is just wood and doesn't cost you anything else. So like when I go and hunt birds, I use just regular. Fire arrows, same thing. It does a proc, it has a knockback, but nothing works on the lock. But again, the Draugr bow overrides the fire. And it took 10 arrows to down this locks as well with the current setup that I have. I did this in consecutive, so my bow didn't go up or anything like that, so I did these consecutively. So I just wanted to see how many arrows it would take, and for 4 more arrows I believe it's just worth using wood. Yes, you're hitting for about 20 to 15 hit points less, but your tick is always the same. It's always around 3.3 for the mid-range, and the proc is not really doing anything, because you don't see any extra damage coming off other than the extra 15 damage from the actual arrow itself from the piercing. So my opinion is to use just regular arrows. That'd be your best bet, cheapest way to go. Save your stuff for when you want to fight a boss. That way, most of the bosses, the last boss takes ice frost arrows, so make sure you're stacking those up. You're going to need quite a bit. It took 3 of us like 20 minutes to kill the boss, because we brought needle arrows and found out that was a mistake, because we're only doing 10 to 15 damage. And then when we brought ice arrows in, we made a ported back during the fight, got ice arrows made, came back, and we're doing 60 damage. So depending on the boss you're fighting is the arrows you're going to use. Each boss is going to be different, so make sure you do your homework on that. But in the end, I'm going to continue to use wood arrows, just because I don't want to waste the feathers or any of the other materials that I farm to kill things in the wild, when it would just take a couple more arrows of wood. I'll save all those arrows as I make them for when my friends get on the server, want to kill mobs or bosses, and I need to help them get certain items like wishbones or tears, things of that nature. So make sure you guys are doing your homework. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to this video. I'm going to be trying to put out more content as I play, as I learn more about the game. Go look up my iron scrap farming outside of crypts. It's very informative. A lot of people don't know about it. This is White Walker. Hope you guys enjoy.